Hi, welcome if you're new. I'm Amy. I'm a mom of two girls. You can see my youngest right here. Today I'm going to be sharing what I eat. I'm on WW. I get 52 points on the green plan because I'm exclusively nursing. So if you're on WW or you're just looking for inspiration on what to eat in a day, feel free to follow along. Okay, let's start with breakfast. I'm going to be making breakfast sandwiches. So here are all of the ingredients, and I'll kind of show you really quickly how I put it together and how many points it is. First thing I'm going to do is just microwave my sausage. Next, I fry the eggs. I'm doing 4 eggs for 4 different sandwiches. One sandwich doesn't have the chicken sausage, but you can see I have the fried egg, the chicken sausage, and the cheese on top of the English muffins. And for breakfast this day, I had a half a banana. My toddler had the other half. I had a glass of water and the sandwich. So here it is. I love making kind of a few days of breakfast at once. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to store these in the fridge for the next few days for breakfast. If I made more, I would store them in the freezer. I'm not exactly sure what we're going to have for lunch, but I'm just going to cut up some cherry tomatoes and some basil while I have the time. Okay, so these are prepped and ready for lunchtime. And I'm also going to cut up an apple and some strawberries for lunch or for snacks or whatever. I'm just gonna have a little snack of a few cashews, there's 6, and a cheese stick. I got this sourdough from the store, so I'm gonna slice that up, top it with some Parmesan and tomatoes and basil, and then when it comes out, I'm gonna toss it with, I think, some of this garlic expressions and then some balsamic vinegar. Maybe some mozzarella. Okay, my bread's all sliced up. This is for all the 3 of us that are gonna eat, my husband and I and my toddler. And then I'm gonna weigh out my cheese. I think I'm gonna do, I'll try 20, just a full serving, 28 grams. Okay, and then I'm just gonna put it on my 2 slices to right here. Once I add all the toppings, I am going to bake it in the oven, probably at 350 for about 12 minutes or so, and see how it looks. And I'll just add it to all the others. I normally make the same thing for all of us. I've been on WW before, and I've always just kind of made the same thing. It's just easier. And then I can always modify if I need to, or just have a little bit less, or whatever. But I really don't want to cook more than one meal, or more than one thing for a meal if I don't have to. And then I'm just going to top it with the basil and tomatoes. Okay, so I've topped it with the tomatoes. Now I'm going to top it with the basil. I used fresh because I love fresh basil, but you can go ahead and use dried if you make this. And then I'm adding garlic powder. And I think a little bit of black pepper. Now I'm just going to bake this in the oven at 350 for, I'll try 12 minutes and see how it looks. Now I'm going to take that salad mix, which is arugula, Swiss chard, spinach, and there might be a couple of other things. And I'm going to rip up the leaves. I just like that because they're a little bit smaller and just easier to eat. And then I'm going to toss it with garlic expressions and balsamic vinegar. This combination is so good. It's so like bright and refreshing. Okay, it's out of the oven. It's a little bit crispy. The cheese is pretty melted. I already took my toddlers out, and I have some fruit on the plates and the lettuce ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and add my salad on top of this toasted bread. Do you have something that you make a lot, but kind of in a variety of ways? We make salad a lot, like with these dressing combination, and sometimes we'll put chicken sausage on top of it, sometimes just like tomatoes and cheese, but we love it. So my lunch is just going to be these 2 pieces of toasted bread, and then I'm going to have some of that fruit that I cut up earlier in the day on the side. Okay, I'm going to make myself a chai latte with this decaf chai. It does have some sugar. There's the nutrition facts and then some almond milk, and then I'm also going to have the last one of these. It's just a little one. I'm gonna start prepping dinner right now. So it's a few hours before dinner, but my toddler is currently napping. So I'm going to be making the meatball bubble up from the Skinny-ish dish. I've never tried this recipe, but it sounds good and pretty simple. So I'm going to use prepared beef meatballs instead of making my own turkey meatballs just to save time. So let's get started on the prep. I bought these frozen beef meatballs. The original recipe calls for homemade turkey meatballs. I just didn't want to take the time, so I'm going to use these instead. So I'm going to go ahead and thaw them in the microwave. These meatballs are definitely raising the number of points for the recipe. So my recipe will be 17 points and the original one is 6 points for 1/6 of the casserole. So there's a huge point difference. I'm also using Rao's marinara instead of kind of a 0-point marinara because Rao's does have olive oil. So there are plenty of changes to make if you want a lower point casserole. I just have extra points and I want the convenience. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm chopping about 7.5 ounces of biscuit dough into cubes, and then I'm gonna layer them on the pan. I'm using kitchen shears for this. And I'm gonna just layer them along the bottom of the dish. And the recipe creator says you don't have to pre-cook these, but I'm going to just because I'm not gonna bake the entire thing until later. So I'm actually gonna cook them at 375 for probably between 5 and 10 minutes just to make sure they don't get soggy when I go to bake up the casserole later. I haven't gotten too far along and I can hear that my 2-year-old is currently awake, so I'm just gonna go ahead and cut these green onion. Again, just using those same kitchen shears. So I have to go up and get my 2-year-old, but I have everything ready. I have the marinara, the cheese, green onion. Here is the biscuit that I cut up. This is the thawed meatballs. And so I'm just going to put it all together and, like I said, pre-bake the biscuit dough, and then I'll have it ready to go in the oven when it comes around to dinner time. Okay, so I just took these out of the oven. I baked them for 7 minutes, and I'm gonna go ahead and layer the meatballs on top. Okay, then I'm gonna dump the sauce on top. Some green onion. I'm gonna leave some without green onion in case my toddler will eat this. Next, I'm gonna add the mozzarella cheese. This is 1 cup. This is ready to go, so I'm gonna put it in the fridge for a couple hours so it's ready to bake later. We are out for a walk now. It's a really nice day. Right now, this is my main form of exercise. Can't really form the time to exercise formally, so just walking for now. We just got back from a walk and I prepped a salad and some cuties for dinner. Here's the salad. It is a spring mix. There's a string cheese in there, some quartered cherry tomatoes, a tiny bit of green onion that I had left over, pepper, and I'm gonna add balsamic vinegar and some garlic expressions. And then I also prepped some cuties for dinner. And the casserole is in the oven, so I'm gonna go play with my toddler until it's ready. This looks delicious. This looks and smells delicious. I'm currently editing the video and I just realized I never finished it out, so I'll do that now. I ate 52 out of 52 points because remember I have extra because I'm exclusively nursing. I loved all the food I ate that day, and the bubble up was really good, but I will say the meatballs were really high in points, so I felt like I didn't get that much food for a ton of points. So next time I would definitely make my own, but it was really good. I would make it again. If you have any recipe recommendations, leave them in the comments below. And if you would like to see more, please subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.